Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this middle of the day market update. We're going to do a full update. So far, today has been relatively bullish, especially for Ethereum beta, for example, as a narrative. But we'll get to that later, right? I'm not going to front run my own video, but it's also still early, right? The US session, when I was filming this, at least, has not been open for an hour yet. So it's still a possibility that we actually get some volatility here. And in general, that we get some sort of a direction change, all right? Because we already talked about this earlier this morning. Bitcoin itself is at a major resistance level right here between 102 and 102.5. And what I said earlier this morning is, all right, well, we're going to need quite a lot of volume to break through that. And right now, the volume is not necessarily increasing from yesterday, all right? And there's also no increase in the last couple of hours or so. So getting that bullish breakout is going to be very, very tough, and that almost guarantees us that if we're not going to break above this level here, that will drop down. And to be fair, I do think that's a realistic possibility, even though the opening so far has been good. But there's a couple of things I wanted to look at. First of all, open interest or the leverage in the markets is still quite high. That's not necessarily a problem, all right? I talked about that yesterday as well, and I said, you know, that could actually be a problem, and that might mean that we need to pull back first before we can get some real momentum, and I still do think that that's a possibility. But the funding rates are low. All right, so those whales that opened those millions and millions of dollars in long positions on Bitcoin, they don't really pay a lot to keep those open with these funding rates, also not on altcoins. And the fundamentals today look fine. There is still a Coinbase Bitcoin premium here, as you can see. And if we take a look at some other fundamentals here, dollar strength index is slightly bullish. I don't like that, but it isn't technically or structurally bullish here. And the USDT dominance, you know, we're at a strong support level, but this is also for sure not looking bullish, right? And then the asset markets today are down a bit, but ultimately also still trending up. So we already talked about that earlier today. Like, sure, today this is not great, but ultimately, does this matter that much? I wouldn't say so. And gold has also dropped down a bit, so there's less unrest, you'd say. So yeah, all of this together, I would say the fundamentals here are still fine, but the truth remains that if we actually want to break above this level here at 102.5, I think we need more volume. And if we don't gain more volume, we're bound to retrace. And ultimately, I also do think with an open interest development, with a leverage development like this, that we're going to retrace. So that is also what I expect on Bitcoin here. I think that's most likely when we summarize everything together, that we might spike up, but that ultimately we will retrace back to this level right here between 100K and especially 99,000. And then if we from there can actually gain some strong momentum, then I think it's more likely that from there we can actually get a bullish breakout. So that's what I would expect on Bitcoin. Now, the altcoin market is a whole different beast on its own. All right, because I do also think, and I did not want to show this yet, but I do also think that the Bitcoin dominance here is confirmed to be bearish. Now, that is something you need to keep your eyes on, because if this turns bullish, that's a problem. But this looks more bearish than bullish. And what we saw earlier today as well, and that's still going on now, is that you actually see certain ecosystems such as Avalanche, AFAX is very strong. So now we'll talk a little bit about altcoins, but also Ethereum and Ethereum beta, such as Arbitrum and Optimism. Those are outperforming right now. And I can even show you that Solana is actually doing quite well here. Excuse me. And is even outperforming Bitcoin over the last, albeit 2 hours. So I think altcoins are looking fine here. Bitcoin might not be able to break out here, and Bitcoin might be more likely to pull back. But at the moment, even though, I mean, I still have a bit of PTSD from earlier last week, and I think most of you have that as well, with all the bearish pressure. So even though I do think you need to be, you know, cautious, and I would not 100x long everything right now, I think it's most likely that altcoins will be fine to trade. Now, talking about altcoins, at the moment, it's still very correlated. That I don't like much. But at the moment, Ethereum beta really seems like one of the best things to focus on, right? So then we're talking about ENS, Arbitrum, Optimism, maybe Ethereum if you like to trade that. I think that should be the main focus. And then there are some LDO, Lido DAO, also quite strong here. Eigen, also strong. Rocket Pool, strong. So that's all Ethereum Beta. Ethereum Beta is by far the strongest performing narrative right now. But there are some other coins as well. All right. Cow Protocol, that's kind of Ethereum Beta. But there are some projects as well. Link, I made a video on that earlier this morning. That still looks very bullish, for example. I think Sui is also holding its breakouts very, very well. So that's definitely a coin to keep your eyes on as well. And that's about it for now. Maybe Algorand, but that's by far less bullish than the other ones. And XRP and Dogecoin are basically still moving the same as we talked about earlier this morning. All right, so for those of you who are interested in those, check out those videos because they're basically 100% in the same scenario still right now. All right, so that's the markets for me. In summary, I think Bitcoin is not going to be able to sustainably break out, and I think ultimately this is pulling back. Altcoins, and especially Ethereum Beta, looks great. Now, before you go, together with BLOFIN and someone I know at BLOFIN, we set up a new campaign. In my opinion, especially if you're from Europe or the US, this is the best exchange to use. All right, so I started a campaign with them where you can actually get a futures bonus in dollars, as you can see, if you deposit money and if you actually start trading on BLOFIN. That's a bonus. It's a real bonus because I already think that BLOFIN is the best exchange to trade on, and it is also my #1 exchange that I trade on. All right, so I'll leave links for this down in the description. I would 100% recommend you to sign up. Try it out as well. All right, and if you have any questions about opening a trade, etc., you can always reach me in the Discord or Telegram. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos, and bye.